Good morning, my friend. Ohio, Morgan, 早安. Today, we're going to have a very interesting topic. I just finished watching a YouTube video. I highly recommend this video to anybody who is listening to this podcast. The video's name is called Generalist versus Specialist, Why We Need More Generalists in This World, by Paul Reisbeck. I think I will blend this in on the screen for you to see. It's a very, very good video because it reminds me once again why I am personally a generalist and not a specialist, and why I personally think going into the future, more and more generalists are needed and not more and more specialists. And I came to this conclusion yesterday after playing around with the AI image generator on the internet, because I'm in need of thumbnails, and I'm using pretty clickbaity thumbnails for my podcast since I'm trying to target audience of male. So I'm using AI generated female photos to use as a bait. I know it's very simple. Forgive me for that. Sorry, you can't find any bikini babes here. It was just a simple bait. Similar to the guy who famously gave math tuition lessons on Pornhub. Not sure if any one of you have heard about this guy. A genius guy from Taiwan, I believe. He's a math tutor. He wants to reach young male audience, and he thought the best way to do that is by go on Pornhub and put a search word for all the sexual acts, and then link to his and he uploaded all his math tuition videos on Pornhub. It became a sensation and success, and a lot of his students became very, very good at math. That is another generalist thinking, and it's a very good idea. So now come back to generalist versus specialist. So why is the generalist so important? Because life as we know it is, sorry, that's the sound of my car not charging properly. I would just ignore that. BMW is doing funny stuff here. Okay, so back to the topic. The generalist is going to be the one who is going to survive in the most uncertain world we're living in. And my experience with the AI image generator reminds me once again why the world has become more and more uncertain. And we don't know what's going to happen 5 years from now. There could be an earthquake this year in Tokyo. There could be a war between Russia and US nuclear ones next week. There could be a land invasion in Taiwan 3 weeks from today by the Chinese. And there could be a hyperinflation by end of this year because everybody lose faith in fiat currency. There's so many uncertainties in the world that's more and more part of normalcy. And the only way to survive and thrive in an extremely uncertain environment is knowing a little bit about a lot of things. And why is that important? Because it gives you perspective. Here, the good example has been my own journey. I grew up in communist China, but my formative years I spent in Germany before actually the German war came down. So I witnessed the transition from communism to capitalism for Eastern Germany. And luckily I was on the Western side, so I was sheltered from the trauma of capitalism. Yeah. So, and then I moved then later to Singapore, pursue a career in commodities trading. And then after 10 years after that, I end up here in Australia, and very soon I will be going to Japan to start a new career. So all this is because I have an extreme generalist mindset, which means whatever lesson you learn in one area of competency, you can actually use the same lessons to transfer it over to another area of expertise. So the latest one I want to attack myself is language learning. I want to encourage my son to learn Japanese, and I already encouraged and successfully sent my protege, Corey, to Japan. And right now he's fully integrated into the Japanese lifestyle, and he has been learning Japanese for more than 6 months and emerged in the culture. And now I want to catch up to both my friend Corey in Japan and my son here in Australia. I want to speak Japanese well enough in 6 months that I can travel around Japan without any translator, and that I can be complimented by many people. Someone should come to me and say things like, "Nihongo jouzu desu ne," something like that. "Nihongo jouzu." So I'm expecting people to say this a lot to me. So I know this doesn't mean much, but I'm going to farm the Nihongo jouzu as much as I can, just out of fun. So right now I have virtually no Japanese knowledge. My Chinese is good, but not fantastic. So I'm cheating a little bit using kanji. But right now I'm using my own method of learning. I don't think anybody has done this before. I've been observing other polyglots in their way of approaching a brand new language. And in my case, here's my approach. And I want to tell you why and come back to the generalist versus specialist method. Because if I'm a language specialist, I would never approach this problem of not being able to speak Japanese, yet want to speak natively Japanese in the shortest possible time. That problem cannot be solved with a specialist approach. The generalist approach of my case is I look at the problem, I look at the most likely solution, and I apply it to my specific situation. So here's what I do. First of all, I started watching every day for 6 hours, usually 6 to 7 hours, travel videos in Japanese, done by Japanese travel bloggers. One of the people I watch a lot is Koya Travel, Koya Travel, Koya Travel. He's amazing. And I choose this guy because his voice is similar to mine, his tonation is similar to mine, and he can teach me his pitch accent. So I'm literally just imitating his voice, not understanding 99% of what he says. So I start learning Japanese by imitating the Japanese pitch accent of a middle-aged male, which is same as me. So I want to do this for at least 30 days in a row. And in the process, I might pick up some pieces, but that's not important. I'm not learning katakana, I'm not learning hiragana, and I'm not learning any new kanjis, and I'm not learning the phonetics, the grammar. I'm not doing Anki. I'm not using Duolingo. I'm not signed up on HelloTalk. All this will come later. Those are tools that will come later. Because for me, the purpose is to trick somebody in Japan thinking I'm a native Japanese speaker with 6 months practice. That's my goal. In 6 months' time, I want to be able to have a conversation in Japan with a Japanese native and make them feel or think that I'm native Japanese with extremely limited Japanese knowledge. So one of the video I used to develop the system is the one of the cheat codes provided by Language Jones. Shout out to Language Jones. He's a linguist. And I will link his video on my screen. Maybe you can see that. It's an amazing video. I just found this video yesterday, incredibly inspirational. And he's basically providing the cheat code to fool anybody to think that you are a native speaker. And the reason I want to do that is because the ultimate goal in Japan is buying undervalued real estate in Japan. And to be able to do that, I cannot come across as a foreigner who knows nothing about the culture or the language and any of that. Instead, I want to be able to negotiate Japanese real estate deals in 6 to 12 months' time, natively, by myself. So that's the goal. And now come back to generalist versus specialist. If I'm a specialist in linguistics, this will be the last thing I do. Because I'm a generalist, I don't have inhibition of what should I do, what should I not do. Instead, I look at it from a very practical perspective and apply a solution that I custom develop for my problem, which I don't think anybody else has at this moment. All right. Thank you very much for listening. Enjoy the rest of the day. Arigato. And bye-bye.